All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, where Brian Norman Sr. goes off on Devin Haney and explains why this new weight gain in size for Devin ain't gonna work. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we're going to talk about what Brian Norman Sr. said, the observations that he made and shared about Devin Haney's size and fighting style ahead of the fight with his son, Brian Norman Jr. for his WBO 147-pound belt. And let me tell you, man, I got to tell you, I've been paying attention to this stuff very, very carefully. This fight should be a passing of the torch, and it should be a passing of the torch between one of the most orchestrated and manufactured boxers in the history of the sport of boxing against a young upcoming kid who is, in my personal opinion, in this point in time in his life, overachieving. And I got to tell you, man, I'm rooting for the kid that's trying to overachieve. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, man, thank y'all so much for what you do in the Cash App. It really helps the channel go and grow. So thank you guys. Thank you to all the contributors in the super thanks. But let's get into this because, look, man, I've been paying attention to Devin Haney, Bill Haney for years. I can't help it because they force you to, because they're always in a mic and they've got all kind of concocted and made up mechanisms to make sure that his name is always being echoed. The only problem for Devin Haney is that Devin Haney really and truly is not the talent that people sold him to be. So as he goes into this fight with Brian Norman Jr., who I believe very well could be the real deal, the champion at 147 for the WBO, I was watching shows, listening to see kind of how these guys think, what they are thinking about each other and the like. So I went by a live stream. I do believe it was a KMJ Network's live stream last night. Big panel of people, and Brian Norman Sr. was on, and he was talking about Devin Haney, and Devin Haney having been called a weight bully in the earlier portions of his career, specifically in the 135-pound division. And Brian Norman Sr. made a very, very good observation, specifically about the fight that took place with Vasily Lomachenko. He said, look at Devin Haney when Devin Haney fought Vasily Lomachenko. He walked into the ring weighing 165 pounds for a 135-pound fight. Let me repeat that. Devin Haney walked into the ring at 165 pounds for a 135-pound fight against Vasily Lomachenko. Before that fight had taken place, when Vasily Lomachenko had won his the previous fight, Devin Haney got into the ring with Vasily Lomachenko, and Vasily Lomachenko looked up at Devin and said, man, what is this guy, a heavyweight? This is crazy. Basically, how could you possibly be this big at 135? Well, when Devin got into the ring with Vasily Lomachenko, that size didn't really mean all that, even though it was very clear from Devin's fighting style during that fight that Devin intended to use his size to impose himself on Lomachenko. The only problem is that it didn't work. And why is that? Brian Norman Sr. posits that is because he doesn't got any punching power. And I'm telling you, man, punching power, in my personal opinion, in boxing is equivalent to talent. Hand speed is talent. Punching power is talent. And that is what he's saying. Devin just does not have that level of talent because look what he's doing. And you can even look at Devin when he's fighting guys like Yuriokas Gamboa at 135. He's not putting any hurt on Yuriokas Gamboa at that weight class. He didn't put any hurt in that weight class on George Kambosos or Jojo Diaz. So the logic for Brian Norman Sr. is, man, why would we worry about Devin Haney at 147 when Brian Norman Jr. walks around at 165? Devin walks around at about 165 pounds. The only difference is Brian Norman Jr. is sleeping people at 147 pounds and weighing that much. If Devin can't sleep people at 135 pounds weighing 165, what's he going to do with welterweights weighing that much? Well, if you look back at the two fights that he has had in the welterweight limit, which is Ryan Garcia and Jose Ramirez, Ryan Garcia was originally supposed to be at 140 pounds, but Ryan got sneaky, came in there at 143. So it was a catch weight on that fight. And then I do believe Devin asked for a 143 catch weight against Jose Ramirez. But when he fought Jose Ramirez and he fought Ryan Garcia, far from spectacular performances. He got thumped up by Ryan Garcia. That got overturned when Ryan Garcia tested for Ostarine, but nothing spectacular at all with that fight with Jose Ramirez because for the most part, Devin was running around with it like a chicken with his head cut off, really not wanting to engage. So as of right now, we have not seen any real oomph or any real punching power at 147 or 135 or even 140. Have we really seen it from Devin? Because, man, he had what has to be considered a shot Regis Prograis right in front of him, looking where the knockout was there to get, and Devin still didn't pull the trigger, still was not able to do it. So Brian Norman is asking reasonably, like, what do you really expect? What do you really expect for Brian Norman Jr. to be able to do at that weight class? Well, fortunately for Devin, though, there's more than one way in which to win a boxing match. And sticking and moving, being very scientific with what you're doing, slipping shots, countering them, even though you may not have the most punching power in the world, doesn't mean you cannot still dominate and win that fight. Because, hey, man, Pernell Whitaker, when he went to 147 pounds, was far from a big power puncher. But, hey, man, he had the skills that allowed him just to start teeing off on people and making a miss. Is that something that Devin Haney's going to be able to do in the pocket with Brian Norman Jr., or is he going to have to get on his bicycle and do that? Brian Norman Jr. is the champion in this fight, so I would not advise jumping on the bicycle and just thinking if you touch this guy that they're going to give you that decision. I do not believe that the Top Rank would put Brian Norman Jr. in this fight unless they really felt that he had a significant chance to win. And at least that's what I believe. Now, they did throw Jared Anderson in there with Martin Bacoli, and that didn't work out too well for him. So you don't know. But anyway, I just thought that was a very interesting conversation. I doubt very much that Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. are going to respect Devin Haney's power, and they are probably going to be stepping to that dude, trying to pressure that guy the whole fight. Now, hopefully they don't overdo it, wind up getting caught coming in, going out, all of those type of things. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.